Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A watch salesman tells you his sample case has been stolen. He says he knows the men who did it. Your job? Find them.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, October 4th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We're on our way into the office, and it was 7:46 a.m. when we got to room 27A. Robbery.
I'll check the book.
All right. Anything for us?
No. Say, took Faye to the movies last night.
Well?
Yeah, darn good double bill. Mystery and a comedy. Sure had me fooled.
What?
The mystery had me fooled. I never can figure out who done it.
Yeah.
It was this rich society girl.
Mm-hmm.
She lived in the penthouse, top floor, real modern kind of glass.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, they found her lying outside on the roof garden part, and the doors were all locked, and the police had to break them down to get in. As soon as they got in...
Yes, sir.
I'd like to report a robbery. Is this the right place?
Yes, sir. You want to sit down?
Oh, thanks. My name's Liggins, Russell Liggins.
Could you spell it, please?
Yeah, it's Liggins. Liggins.
Mm-hmm. This is Frank Smith. My name is Friday.
I'm pleased to meet you.
How you doing?
I suppose you tell us what happened, Mr. Liggins.
Be okay to smoke?
Sure, go ahead.
You fellas care for a cigarette?
Yeah, thank you. Here, I have a light. Frank?
Thanks.
Thank you. Well, it was my own fault to begin with. It just wasn't using my head.
Uh-huh.
The company ought to fire me. I wouldn't blame them if they did.
What company is that?
Sentinel Watch Company up in Seattle.
I see.
It's a new outfit. They import movements from Japan and put them in cases over here and wholesale them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of their head salesmen. I came down for the Jewelers Convention.
I see.
The convention ended yesterday, and I was supposed to leave for home this morning, 9 o'clock plane. I guess I have to take a later flight now.
Yes.
Boy, of all the dumb stunts, practically handed him my sample case on a silver platter.
That's
over
all?
100 watches. Our best stuff. A lot of them in jeweled cases. Company wanted to make a good impression, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd the robbery take place, Mr. Liggins?
Front of the hotel, for all intents and purposes, that is.
Which hotel is it?
A Greystone, that's where I've been stopped.
I see. Do you have any idea who robbed you?
Best idea in the world.
Yeah.
Spent a couple of hours with him last night.
Yeah?
You see, what happened is this. Like I said, the convention was over yesterday, and it wound up about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And, well, I had the whole evening ahead of me, nothing to do.
Go ahead.
I had dinner there at the hotel, a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
Stole too early to go to bed, so I thought I'd look the town over, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Stopped by Pershing Square and listened to those characters spouting off, and along about 10 o'clock, I headed back toward the Greystone. Passed the bar and decided to go in for a nightcap.
Do you remember the name of the bar?
No, I'm afraid not. It's just a couple blocks from the hotel, though. Had a nice little combo in there, played pretty good music. So I sat around for a while.
Yeah.
I guess I had a little too much to drink. Oh, I wasn't drunk or anything like that, but had my share.
Mm-hmm.
It must have been a little higher. I wouldn't have got started talking to a couple of strangers the way I did.
Yeah.
They were sitting next to me, these two fellows. We got to chatting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was about music at first. They seemed to be enjoying it. One thing led to another, and they bought me a drink, and I had to pay them back, of course.
Yes, sir.
Asked me what line I was in. I told them I sold watches. Said I was in town for the jewelry convention. They took it real big, said that's why they were here, too. Claimed they had a jewelry store in Salt Lake City.
They mentioned their names?
Oh, sure. They introduced themselves, but it didn't sink in. Not their last names, anyhow. George and Paul. Yeah, that's all I can remember.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Well, they started complaining about the quality of the watches they'd been shown. Said they hadn't seen anything worth buying. Well, so I asked them if they'd looked at my samples, and they said they didn't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I offered to make an appointment to show them my stuff. Figured I could stay over an extra day on the chance of making a good sale. And they said that wouldn't be necessary for me, you know, to stay over. Said they could meet me this morning before I left for the airport.
Well, did you set up an appointment?
Yes, sir. I told them it'd have to be early if I was still going to catch my plane, and that was fine with them. The earlier, the better. Agreed to meet me at 7 a.m. They even offered to drive me to the airport. Couldn't ask for anything more than that, could I?
No, sir.
Well, anyway, I come downstairs about 6:45 and checked out, and they were supposed to pick me up in front of the hotel.
Yeah.
Well, about 5 to 7, they come by. I hopped in the car, and we drove off. We hadn't gone more than a mile or so, and they pulled over and parked. Quiet street, not much traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I asked them why they were stopping there. I figured on showing them my watches out at the airport. They said they wanted to look at them now.
What was that again?
They said that they want to look at them right now, in the car.
The watches?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And it struck me as kind of funny. I didn't see where it would make any difference. And I opened up the case, and they just sort of glanced inside. And then one of the fellows, the one named George, he took out a gun, started shoving me through the door. And I tried to argue with him. I wasn't getting anywhere, though.
Pulled a gun, huh?
Yeah. And he, kind of pushed me with it.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I asked him to please at least give me my suitcase. I said it wouldn't be worth anything to them, but I needed it. And they tossed it out on the street beside me and drove off.
I see. What about your wallet?
Hmm?
Did they take your wallet, too?
Oh, no, just the sample case. I guess they were in a hurry, didn't want to spend a lot of time there in the street in broad daylight or something.
I see.
As soon as they left, I started looking around for a cab. Had to walk a couple of blocks before I found one. And then I got him to bring me right here.
Mm-hmm. What kind of a car did they drive, do you know?
The fellows that robbed me?
That's right.
Sedan. I think it was black. A Ford.
Mm-hmm. Did you get the license?
No, I didn't even think of trying that until after they were out of sight.
Well, now, can you describe these men for us, please?
Well, sure. Well, they were about 40, medium-sized. George had black hair. And the other fellow, he had sort of sandy hair,
I see. Any marks or scars?
I don't think so.
How were they dressed?
Suits. Conservative. Blue or kind of gray, maybe. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Were they wearing the same clothes this morning?
Well, no, I don't know. They had on top coats today.
I see.
Now, you said their names were George and Paul.
Yeah, that's right.
Anything else that might help us identify them?
Gosh, I'm afraid not.
Do you have a list of serial numbers from your watches?
Well, yes.
May we see it?
Yeah, it's in my wallet. Yeah, just a minute. There you go.
Oh, thanks very much. I'll get out a circular, Joe.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want from me?
Yes, sir. We'd like to have you show us the bar where you met these men.
Well, no, sir, I'm not sure I can. A lot of bars in the neighborhood, and I didn't pay too much attention.
Mm-hmm. You said they had a combo there?
Yeah.
Well, that ought to make it easier.
Well, I'll sure do my best.
Yes, sir.
I have to get my airline ticket changed, too.
We'd appreciate it if you could stay over a couple of days.
Oh?
In case we turn them up, we'll need you to identify them.
Well, there isn't much chance of that, is there?
How do you mean?
Well, the descriptions I gave you could be anybody.
Yeah.
Besides, the company will want me back on the job. That is, if they don't fire me for this.
Well, you aren't the only thing they'll want back.
Huh?
They'll want those watches, too. Frank and I checked the M.O. and the descriptions Russell Liggins had given us with the stats office. They came up with 11 possibles. We took the names to R&I and pulled the packages. Liggins was unable to identify any of the mug shots. 10:13 a.m. We cruised the vicinity of the Greystone Hotel looking for the bar where Liggins had first met the suspects. He told us the Green Hat Cafe on 6th Street seemed familiar, but he wasn't certain. We left him in the car and we went inside to interview the bartender.
Look, you boys know me. I run a nice, clean place. Don't even cut the liquor.
Yeah, sure.
I ain't caused you no trouble. Why don't you lay off?
Just a couple of questions for you, Sam.
Sure. A couple of questions. Next thing I know, I'm testifying in court.
You got something you ought to testify about?
No, of course not. I'm just talking.
Well, then talk to us, huh?
Okay. What do you want?
You on the job here last night?
Yeah.
All evening.
All evening. I got a little combo working in the joint now. They cost money. There's nothing left over for extra bartenders.
You see that fellow out in the car?
Where?
Right over here, Sam. Lean over. See, out there.
Yeah, I see him.
Take a good look at him.
All right, I look good.
He ever been in your place?
Like when?
Last night.
The bar was real crowded last night. Music helps the business.
Mm-hmm.
He might have been here.
Well, yes or no, Sam?
Yeah, he was here.
Alone?
Yeah, he came in alone.
Mm-hmm.
He took that stool over there, had a few drinks, and left.
Mm-hmm. Did he talk to anybody?
He talked to me.
What'd he say?
He liked the music. That's about all.
Who else he talked to?
A girl sitting next to him.
Who was she?
Well, I don't know her name. She comes in once in a while, kind of nice looking.
There were a couple of men in here, too, weren't there, Sam?
Well, there were a lot of guys. Why?
Well-dressed, middle-aged?
Could be.
They talked to him, too, did they?
The fella in your car?
Same guy, yeah.
Well, if they did, I didn't see him.
Had quite a conversation.
I didn't hear it. Music's pretty loud.
Who were they, Sam?
Look, I don't ask for a driver's license unless the guy looks like he's under
Come
21.
on, Sam. Who are they?
He's conning you. That friend of yours out there.
Yeah.
End stool, that's where he sat.
Uh-huh.
The girl was next to him the whole evening.
Well?
He couldn't have talked to nobody else.
We took Liggins into the Green Hat Cafe, and he said he was certain that was where he had met the two men known as George and Paul. Sam Hupple, the owner of the bar, was equally certain that Liggins was mistaken. 10:48 a.m. Frank and I drove Liggins over to the Greystone Hotel. While he went inside to re-register, we talked with the cab drivers who were stationed at the stand next to the main hotel entrance. One of them told us he had been parked there from about 6:30 until 7:15 a.m. that morning.
Thought I was never going to give me a fare. When it starts like that, the whole day's shot. Look at me now. Been sitting here for the last 25 minutes.
Did you see a man come out of the hotel about 5 minutes to 7?
I was watching those doors real anxious. If he came out, I saw him.
Same fellow we just let off.
Oh.
You remember him?
Sure.
Did you notice the car he drove off in?
You kidding?
What do you mean?
This hack of mine.
Huh?
He was my first fare this a.m.
You picked him up here?
That's right. It wasn't 5 or 7, though. Closer to 7:30.
Where'd you take him?
City Hall.
We went into the hotel and talked to the desk clerk. He told us that Liggins had been assigned the same room he had previously occupied, 417. He also told us that he was almost positive Liggins had not carried a sample case when he checked out that morning. We talked to the bellhop who had brought down Liggins' baggage. He said Liggins had only one suitcase. 11:13 a.m. Frank and I went up to room 417.
Come in. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's very kind of you. Oh, I'll be with you as soon as I get off the phone.
It's okay.
Yes, sir. Well, a day or two, I guess, if that's all right. No, they didn't take my money. Thanks, I can manage. Oh, just one thing. Would you ask one of the girls to call my wife and explain the delay? Oh, thank you very much, sir. Bye. Well, I was just talking to the boss in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Says it's all right for me to stick around a few days.
Good.
Now, you really think you can find those guys that fast, huh?
Well, we may not have to look for them.
What do you mean?
We've been checking your story, Liggins.
Yeah?
Leaks like a sieve.
That lousy bartender, huh? You taking his word against mine?
No, we got more than the bartender.
Oh?
The cab driver says he picked you up here at 7:20 and drove you down to City Hall.
Well, he's crazy.
You can have it in person.
He must have picked up somebody who looks like me, that's all.
We talked to the bellhop who brought down your luggage. There wasn't any sample case.
I carried it myself. I wasn't going to let a bellhop handle something as valuable as that.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't notice it, that's all.
The desk clerk didn't notice it either.
Well, I stood in front of his desk when I paid up. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys want from me?
Just tell us what happened to the sample case.
I've told you the whole story.
There was one thing you left out.
What's that?
The truth. We continued to question Russell Liggins in his hotel room. He insisted that he'd been telling us the truth. We confronted him with the cab driver, the desk clerk, the bellhop. He refused to change his story. 1:05 p.m., we drove Liggins down to the city hall for further interrogation.
How much of the watch is worth?
Wholesale or retail?
Both ways.
About 4,000 wholesale, maybe 10 retail.
That's a lot of money.
Well, sure.
Was your boss upset?
Well, he wasn't very happy about it.
He's insured, isn't he? Well, come on.
Yeah, I guess so.
Don't you know?
Yeah, he's insured. He said so over the phone. He told me not to worry.
You didn't know about the insurance before.
What if I did?
Maybe we better talk to your boss. What's his number? Come on, fella. What's his number?
Well, what are you going to tell him?
That you've been handing us a line about being robbed?
Well, you think I robbed myself? Is that what you're getting at?
What else can we think?
Oh, you're crazy.
Where are the watches?
Somebody stole them.
Yeah, George and Paul.
Look, okay. It wasn't George and Paul.
Go ahead.
I made it up. The whole thing about them. You know, the fellas. I had to tell you something.
Sure you did.
Well, you want the truth, don't you? Well, you're getting it. Least you can do is try to believe it.
You make it kind of hard to buy.
Look, I went into that bar last night just like I told you.
Mm-hmm.
And the bartender was right. I didn't talk to anybody except the girl sitting beside me.
Yeah.
Well, she said she came in because she liked the music. And I was feeling kind of lonesome. I don't know anybody in L.A., so we started to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Said her name was Barbara. Didn't give me her last name because she was married and she wanted to keep things on a first-name basis. And that was all right with me. I told her to call me Russ.
Yeah.
She said her husband worked nights, one of the aircraft plants.
Mm.
And I told her about my job, that I sold watches. She kind of laughed when I told her.
What about?
Well, it was a big coincidence. Me being a watch salesman, she was planning to buy a watch. Told me the one she had was ready to give up the ghost.
I see.
Then she showed it to me on her wrist. Real cheap kind. Just a piece of junk.
Yeah.
Well, she asked me if maybe I could get her a new one wholesale, and I said I might be able to arrange it. Then I suggested she come up to my room and look at the samples I had there.
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't up to anything. I figured we'd have a couple of drinks, but that was all.
Sure.
And then she kind of hesitated, said it wouldn't look very good. And finally she agreed. We went over to the hotel, and I had a bottle in my room, and I fixed us a drink. And then I showed her the watches. And she picked out the one she liked, but she didn't have any money with her, not enough to pay for it anyway.
Yeah.
Then I told her she could have it for free. You know, as a present.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an expensive model, and I was going to pay the company back out of my own pocket. So she took off her old watch, and she put it in her purse. And she put the new one on.
All right, go ahead.
And then she said we ought to have a couple more drinks, you know, to kind of celebrate the present. But she offered to fix them. Well, maybe she put something in mine, or maybe they were just strong. I don't know. Anyway, I don't remember much after that.
What'd you do, pass out?
Yeah, I guess so. Next thing I knew, it was morning, about 6:30, and I'd fallen asleep on the bed with all my clothes on.
Yeah.
That must be why she didn't take my wallet.
All right, what happened then?
Well, I didn't think anything was wrong. I couldn't remember when Barbara left, but I blacked out before when I've had a little too much.
Yeah.
So I took a shower and I got dressed. And it was while I was dressing I noticed the sample case was gone. I looked everywhere for it.
You figure she took it, huh?
Now, who else could have?
Well, maybe.
Boy, you guys are pretty hard to convince, aren't you?
Well, why didn't you tell us about Barbara when you first came in here?
Well, I was thinking of my job.
Yeah.
Boss just promoted me a couple of months ago. I'm doing pretty good. I'm making fair money.
Is that so?
Yeah, if he ever found out I let some dame roll me in a hotel room, well, I'd be out of my ear.
All right.
And that's not all. I got a wife. Helen, that's her name. You guys married?
He is.
Well, then maybe he'll understand. We've only been married a couple of years, and Helen doesn't like the idea of me being on the road half the time. She's suspicious enough as it is.
Yeah.
So I did some quick thinking, come up with the story I gave you this morning, you know, about George and Paul. Well, it really wasn't my own idea exactly. What I mean is that I was talking to a salesman at the convention the other day, you know, one of the real old-timers. He told me how some guys had robbed him once when he was just starting out, and that's where I got the idea. Sort of switched it around to fit what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't see where I was doing any harm. I never thought you'd be able to get the watches back anyhow.
Well, you didn't make it any easier for us.
Well, maybe not. But you don't know Helen. Well, she'd leave me sure as fate if this ever gets out.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cause you any trouble. It seemed to make any difference what I told you as long as the watches were gone.
No, it makes a difference.
Yeah?
If we want to find out who took them. 3:15 p.m. We went back to the Greystone Hotel and talked to the manager. He gave us the home telephone number of the elevator boy who had been on duty the previous night. We called the boy, and he told us he remembered taking a passenger who resembled Russell Liggins up to the third floor sometime after 2 a.m. in the morning. He also remembered that Liggins had been accompanied by a young lady. He did not remember bringing the lady down, but he suggested that she might have used the stairs. We called the crime lab, and they went over Liggins' room. They found no useful fingerprints or other physical evidence. 5:15 p.m., we went back to the office. Liggins gave us a description of the girl known to him as Barbara. We showed him some mug shots, but he was unable to identify any of the women. 7:18 p.m., Frank and I again interviewed the bartender at the Green Hat Cafe.
Well, what did I tell you? Just a couple of questions, that's all. Next thing I know, you guys have moved in for the winter.
All right, Sam, now take it easy.
Have I got any choice?
You remember the girl Liggins was talking to in here last night?
So it's a girl? No, I thought it was two guys.
Oh, come on, Sam. You mentioned her yourself.
I never figured you fellas believed anything I told you.
We want to know who she is.
Just a girl, that's all. She comes in once in a while.
She got a name?
Never introduced herself.
She live in the neighborhood?
I don't know.
Well, who does?
Look, this Liggins is a character. He's already taken you for one ride today. Now, why don't you get off?
We'd like to get in touch with her, Sam.
Get in touch.
You gonna help?
Well, how can I help you? I don't know her name. I don't know her address.
Yeah, well, maybe you can find out.
I busted my crystal ball just the other day.
All right. We'll send in a couple of uniforms to watch your joint for a few days.
You got any objections?
Well, sure. Cops make me nervous. Make the customers nervous, too.
Maybe you got the wrong kind of customers.
Well, what are you going to do? All right, talk to Jeanette.
Jeanette?
Yeah, the waitress. She's in the back room eating her chow.
She know the girl we're looking for?
Yeah, they're real buddy-buddy. Spend half their time chinning together. Never get any work out of Jeanette once the other one comes in.
All right, Sam. Thank you.
You know, there's something been worrying me.
What's that?
Whenever you guys show up, I make up my mind you're not going to get any answers from me. I'm not even going to give you the time of day. And then what happens? I end up telling you everything you want to know.
Maybe you just like us, Sam.
Yeah, that's what's been worrying me.
Frank and I walked back into the kitchen of the Green Hat Cafe, and we interviewed the waitress, Jeanette Grover. She told us that her friend's name was Barbara Hooper. She also told us that she had no idea where Barbara lived.
Used to have a room over on Western, but she moved when she got married.
How long ago was that?
3 weeks. Oh, no, let's see. It's longer. Oh, they went to Vegas on a Sunday. It'd be 4 weeks next Sunday.
Mm-hmm. You're sure you don't have her address, huh?
No, she gave it to me once, but I didn't take it down. I wouldn't have no use for it.
How's that?
I don't get along with Tom.
Tom?
Yeah, that's Barbara's husband. Tom Kernan. Oh, say, that's right. I guess I made a mistake.
Ma'am?
When you asked me what her last name was, I said it was Hooper. I should have said Kernan now.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know why she ever married him. A good-looking girl like Barbara. She sure could have done better.
Mm-hmm.
Tramp. That's all he is. Well, I told her what she's letting herself in for.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got a record as long as my right arm. I've seen him come and go. When you work in a place like this, you can spot a rotten apple a mile off.
Mm-hmm.
I never figured he'd get into trouble this fast, though. What do you want with her?
Just like to get in touch with her, that's all.
Oh, now, I know better than that about cops. They want to get in touch. They mean business. You mind me giving you a piece of advice?
Not at all.
I don't blame her, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
He's to blame, whatever she's done. You check into it and you'll see.
Mm-hmm.
The gal gets married to a wrong guy and lasses up her whole life. Not her fault.
Except for one thing.
Yeah?
She married him. We went back to the office and ran the name Thomas Kernan through the record bureau. They came up with a package. Kernan had served time for burglary and was now on active parole. We checked with Fred Galloway at adult parole. He told us that Kernan's last known address was an apartment on Western Avenue. We drove out there. It's down here.
Yeah. Yeah, here it is.
Huh?
You all set?
Wait a minute. All right.
Well, what do you want?
Come on, open up.
Okay. Keep your hat on.
Police officer, stand still.
Who's moving?
It's clean, Joe.
Where's your wife?
Out.
Out where?
I don't know. She wasn't here when I came home.
We'll look around.
Be my guest. Always knew you guys rode as ex-cons. That ain't no surprise, but I didn't know you started picking on our wives, too.
No.
She's a nice kid.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start in on her. You can stay on my back. I'm used to it, but let her alone.
Joe?
Yeah.
I found this case in the closet.
The watch is still inside.
Most of them, anyway.
All right.
What the heck's that?
You didn't know about this?
Of course not.
Yeah, sure.
I never saw him before.
Your wife did.
Hmm?
How soon will she be back?
I don't know.
We'll wait.
Up to you. Never saw those watches before in my life, I'm telling you the truth.
You bet you are.
Even if Barbara did take them, that don't make me guilty of anything.
No.
Stupid broad. Once you start making with a question, she'll spill the whole deal.
Thought you didn't know anything about it.
Maybe I knew she was looking for a setup. What does that prove? Some setup. Guy with a suitcase full of watches. Dizzy dame didn't even know they had serial numbers on them. What a brain. First job she ever pulled, she gets picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Time I was her age, I'd pulled half a dozen. You cops hadn't even tumbled once.
You're real bright.
That's the use. They won't learn. Tried to teach her the ropes. Gets picked up on her first job.
You know, you should have expected that.
Why? What do you mean?
Look who taught her.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 2nd, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial. Thomas Carew Kernan was returned to the adult authority for violation of parole. Violation of parole is punishable by the term not served. Barbara Jane Kernan was found guilty of grand theft, 1 count. Grand theft is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for not more than 1 year, or in the state prison for not less than 1, nor more than... You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A socially prominent citizen is plotting to kill his wife. He tells you his plans for the murder. He hires you to do the killing. Your job, stop him.
When you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Fatima is the quality, king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
You'll find king-size Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Smoke Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, February 17th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 4:18 p.m. when we got to room 26, chief of detectives' office.
Come on in, man. Have a seat. Did you close the door, Friday?
Yeah, sure.
Captain Steed, Sergeant Romero, Sergeant Friday. I'd like to have you meet Special Agent Ray Kimball, Public Utilities Commissioner.
Mr. Kimball?
His friend, Mr. Trudeau.
How do you do?
Trudeau?
Oh, I see.
Gentlemen, Mr. Kimball and Mr. Trudeau here have some important information to give us. Mr. Trudeau, would you like to repeat for these officers what you told us a few moments ago?
Yes, sir. Well, a friend of mine wants me to kill his wife for him. I'm convinced he means to go through with the thing.
Naturally, it goes without saying that Kimball here will back up the veracity of the story.
Well, Mr. Trudeau, who is your friend? How long have you known him?
His name's Charles Stone. Guess maybe you heard of him. Owns a string of warehouses around town. I used to work for him.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Well, the other day he called me and asked me if I was working, and I told him no. Then he asked me to meet him in front of the public library. And that was last Saturday afternoon.
Did you meet him?
Yes, I did. And he took me to a bar in the neighborhood, started telling me all about his troubles at home.
Mm-hmm.
He said his wife was stepping out on him, running around with other men. Well, we had quite a few drinks, and I guess I thought that's what accounted for it.
What's that, Mr. Trudeau?
Well, he leaned toward me and he said, here's the dope. The wife and I haven't been getting along well at all for about a year. She's stepping out with some other guy on me, and to make a long story short, well, that's when he told me.
I see.
He said, I want to lose her. What do you say? Well, I told him I didn't quite get the drift of the thing, and then he said, I want my wife killed. I'll pay you $1,000 for the job.
Mr. Trudeau, have you any idea why he contacted you on this thing?
Well, I don't know, other than the fact that I hadn't been able to work for some time. He knew I needed the money pretty badly. As soon as I was sure he wasn't kidding about the murder, I told Mr. Kimball here, he's an old friend of mine.
Yeah.
He said the only thing to do was to take it to the police.
Did this Mr. Stone make this proposition to you more than once?
Yes, he did. Kept reminding me how much I could use the $1,000. Well, all I could say was that I knew his wife too well. I couldn't do it.
And what did Stone say to that, sir?
Said I had cold feet. Told me I was just like another man he'd lined up to kill his wife. Told me if I didn't want the job, he'd get someone else to do it.
Do you think he might go for a substitute, Mr. Trudeau, one of our men?
I don't know, Chief. There's only one thing I'm sure of.
Yes, sir.
He wants his wife dead.
4:42 p.m. The meeting in the chief of detectives' office went on. A man by the name of Charles Stone wanted his wife murdered. He'd offered $1,000 for her death. He'd approached two men to do the job, and both had refused. From the information we'd received, we knew he wouldn't stop there. There are a lot of people who'd kill for $1,000. It was only a matter of time till he found one. The plan was formulated, and Ben and I were assigned to the case. 5 p.m. Together with Captain Steed and Mr. Trudeau, we left Thad Brown's office and went down the hall to homicide.
In your last meeting with Stone, Mr. Trudeau, you refused outright to have anything to do with this plan to have his wife murdered. Is that right?
That's right.
Did you leave any opening at all?
Well, just to get away from the guy, I told him if I heard of anybody that'd do the job, I'd let him know.
Do you think that maybe he'd listen to you if you went back and suggested somebody?
I don't know. He'd listen to me, but he's no dummy. You got to understand that. He's going to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, which one of you is going to play the killer?
I'd like to try it, Skipper.
Who's going to fit the part best? Trudeau here just told you that Charles Stone's no pushover.
I don't know, Captain. This officer here...
Me?
Yeah, no offense, but I'd sure take you for a cop.
You would? Why's that?
Well, I don't know. You just look like one, I guess.
Well, Joe is a little closer to average height, weight.
Yeah, that's what I mean, Captain. He doesn't look like a cop.
All right. Now, Mr. Trudeau, you're willing to go along with us on this thing?
Certainly, Captain. Anything I can do. You just tell me what you want.
Well, just as soon as possible, we'd like to have you contact Mr. Stone. You'll know how to approach him so as not to make him suspicious.
Yes, I think I can do that.
Joe, how do you want to go about this?
Well, I better use some kind of an alias. Let's see, Matson. Joe Matson.
Mm-hmm. How about Kelly? Just plain Kelly?
That's fine with me.
Good. Now, how about your background? Better get that straight with Mr. Trudeau here.
Well, suppose I tell him I'm from Phoenix, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I know that town pretty well. He might ask me some questions about it.
Okay. And now, how'd you happen to know Trudeau, the Army?
Did you ever serve in the Army, Mr. Trudeau?
Yes, sir. 42 to 45. CBI theater.
All right. Well, we served together in the Army, huh? Let's make it in China.
Mm-hmm.
Quartermaster Corps, all right?
Mm-hmm. All right. And now, Mr. Trudeau, this is all you'll have to do. Set up a meeting with Stone as soon as possible. Introduce Friday as the man who's willing to do the job for him, an old Army friend. Then step out of the picture as quickly as you can.
All right, Captain. I understand.
It goes without saying, we certainly appreciate your cooperation.
And not at all, sir. Only glad I'm in a position to help out.
You'll probably save that woman's life.
I wish I could be sure.
How do you mean, Trudeau?
The last time I saw Charlie Stone was 3 days ago.
Maybe he's hired somebody else.
5:30 p.m. Captain Steed ordered 2 teams of men from homicide to watch Charles Stone's wife, Mildred, until further notice. For her own protection, she'd be kept under 24-hour surveillance without her knowledge. We checked the eye bureau to see what we could find on Charles Stone. He owned a gun, a .32 Smith & Wesson revolver. That's all we found. He had no criminal record. We knew of him only as a social figure from a prominent family, and supposedly he was happily married. He owned and operated a chain of 6 warehouses throughout Los Angeles. His business reputation was good. Captain Steed ordered that Charles Stone also be placed under 24-hour surveillance immediately. He would be kept under watch without his knowledge. Ben Romero and Gil Encinas were one of the teams assigned to tail him. The next morning, I checked in for work at the usual time. At 10:15 a.m., I left Captain Steed's office and went into the squad room. Homicide, Friday.
This is Mr. Trudeau, Sergeant. I saw Charlie Stone a few minutes ago.
Yes, sir. How'd it go?
We talked about 20 minutes. I told him you must be willing to do the job.
What'd he say?
He wants to meet you.
Before he hung up, Trudeau told me that Charles Stone would meet us that night in Section B in the grandstands at the midget auto races out near Santa Monica. I informed Captain Steed of the development, and then I left the office, went home, put away my gun and all my identification, changed into some old clothes. I boarded a bus and rode back downtown to the Skid Row area where I rented a single room in a cheap hotel. I signed the register J. Kelly, Phoenix, Arizona. 5:30 p.m. I went to Coken's Cafe on the corner of South Main and Sotella Street. Captain Steed was waiting for me in one of the rear booths.
Hi.
Hi.
You look like you're all set.
How does the outfit strike you, okay?
Fine. That old leather jacket's a good touch. Oh, better let your beard grow a little.
You all right? I rented a room in one of the hotels down here. I could use a little expense money.
Glad you said a little. All right, I'll fix it up for you.
Here's the phone number of the hotel in case you want to contact me.
Good.
One thing that's got me a little worried, Skipper.
Yeah?
The legal angle. You can get pretty close to entrapment in cases like this.
Nothing to worry about. You just play it straight down the line.
Yeah?
The idea for the crime has to originate in the mind of the criminal. It's got to be all his idea. You just go along with it.
Okay.
Be sure and keep us posted.
Yes, I will.
Murder of his wife means a lot to Stone. He wouldn't want anybody getting in his way.
Yeah.
Be careful.
That night I had dinner with Trudeau at a cafeteria on South Grand. And then we caught a bus and rode out to the stadium where they held the midget auto races. We found the seats where Charles Stone was to meet us, numbers 4 and 5, row 27, Section B, main grandstand. The auto races started. At 10 minutes past 8 p.m., Charles Stone arrived. He looked like an average, prosperous businessman, well-dressed, medium build, dark hair that showed a few streaks of gray. Trudeau introduced us, and then he left.
Where you from, Kelly?
Phoenix?
Like midget auto races?
That's not why I came out here. Trudeau said something about a job.
Sure. Guess he told you what it's about.
Yeah?
You ever handle anything like this before?
I'd be a sucker to answer that one, wouldn't I?
I just want to know if you could handle it.
Trudeau told me about it. I wouldn't be here if I couldn't handle it.
Delicate job. Gotta be sure it's done right.
What are you looking for, references?
Gotta be careful, that's all.
What about me? I don't know you from Adam. How do I know it won't be a double cross?
Don't worry about double cross. Let's go below the grandstand. Get away from this crowd.
Fine with me. You haven't said anything about money yet.
Funny time talk money.
Like to know.
How much you want?
Trudeau said 1,000.
Yeah.
When could you get it?
When would you want it?
Before. I'd be a dope to do the job without getting paid first.
I'd be just as stupid to give it to you first. Say, can I buy you a hot dog, cold drink?
Okay.
Smith?
Yeah,
One hot dog, couple of root beers?
one dog, 2 beers.
You like root beer?
Sure. How about settling on the dough, huh?
You do the job, you'll get paid. You can ask Trudeau if you like. He'll tell you I keep my word.
Well, it's got to go fast, that's all. I may have a job lined up in Phoenix. I got to get that dough and some new clothes. Got to put up some kind of a front. That's why I need the dough fast, no waiting.
You'll get your money. We can work out something.
Hot dog, 2 root beers, 40. Mustard's on the counter.
There you are.
Mm-hmm.
Move over there out of the way.
Okay. Well, you haven't told me yet.
What?
How do you want it done?
All depends.
I haven't got my gun. I'm on the lam. Have you got one?
No, I don't own one. Couldn't use a gun anyway. Too much noise.
Well, make up your mind.
We'll meet tomorrow night. We can talk about it then.
Look, mister, you expect me to sit on this thing for a week. I'm not making a career out of just this one job.
What are you worrying about? We'll set everything up tomorrow night.
All right, how about $10 on the cuff? I got 11 flat.
That's 5. See, that'll do.
Now, how about that payoff, the 1,000? How do we set that up?
We can talk about that later.
Why can't we talk now? Look, Stone, I don't think I like your attitude. You haven't told me how you want the job done. You talk cute every time the payoff's mentioned.
Take it easy,
Take it easy, nothing. I'm taking the chances. How do I know I'm going to get paid?
How do I know you'll kill her?
Before I left Charles Stone, we set up a meeting for the following night at 8 o'clock. I caught a bus and went back to the hotel room. So far, I'd been unable to get any other corroborative evidence on Stone, evidence that could be presented in court. The next morning, I called the office and kept them posted on development. I had my meals at a lunch counter next door to the hotel, and I stuck pretty close to my room. At 2:30 that afternoon, Ben called.
We tailed Stone to the midget auto races last night. Did you do any good?
Well, not bad. Going a little slow, though.
We tailed him after he left here. We drove to a Beverly Hills address, apartment house.
Thought he lived in Glendale.
Does. The apartment he went to is registered to Jean Howard. Stayed before this morning. Checked the Howard girl out. She's a secretary at one of Stone's warehouse.
Maybe that explains why Stone wants to get rid of his wife, huh?
There's one more thing. We tailed him to a gun shop this morning. Bought a couple of things, and after he's gone, we checked with the store clerk. Told us Stone bought a box of shells, 32 caliber.
Same kind of gun he had registered in it, 32 S&W?
Yeah.
That's funny. Stone told me he doesn't own a gun.
Doesn't look too good in my book.
All right, now let's don't start worrying, huh?
Don't trust him a dime's worth, Joe, that's all.
All right. You want to check with me later on? I've got to keep this line open.
All right. See you later.
All right. Yeah.
This is Stone.
Yeah.
Job's all set up, ready to go.
When?
Tomorrow night.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of New York cover girl Rita Daigle. This is her actual signed statement.
I find Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality.
And they're extra mild.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended.
And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy king-size Fatima yourself.
You'll find king-size Fatima different from other long cigarettes.
They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Wednesday, February 19th, 8:55 p.m. Charles Stone picked me up in his car at the corner of Alameda and 6th. He turned on to South Broadway and he headed down for the beach. He hunched over the wheel as he drove. I kept wondering how I was going to pin him down. We were less than 24 hours away from the scheduled murder of his wife, and I still didn't have a case against him that would stand up in court. If he failed to produce sufficient evidence tonight, Stone had a good chance of going free, whether he succeeded in having his wife killed or not. I also had no idea what plans the suspect had made before he hired me to do the killing. There was a definite possibility that he might have arranged for somebody else to commit the actual murder and then set up a double cross with me as the victim. We knew he had a .32 S&W revolver registered in his name, but he denied to me that he even owned a gun. 9:03 p.m. We pulled up in front of Stone's beach house.
Most of the other homes around here are vacant, summer places. People don't start moving in until 1st of May.
But you said you were afraid of the neighbors seeing you here.
There's some living up the next block. Oh, can't afford not to be careful. This one here. There's the front door key. See if you can work it.
I know how it works. You go ahead and open it.
All right.
The living room, huh?
Yeah, bedroom's over here. Through this door.
All right, what's the story? Where do I start?
The wife should be here about 6 o'clock tomorrow night. She'll be coming down alone to get the house ready for a weekend party.
When do you want me here?
About 4 in the afternoon. Here. Here's the key to the front door.
Better pick it up and hand it to me, huh?
Okay. Here you go. First thing you do when you get here is pull out all the drawers in the bedroom bureau, scatter things around, make it look as much like a burglary as you can.
Yeah?
And here in the living room, desk drawer, table, cupboard. Turn them inside out, throw things around.
Leave my fingerprints all over everything?
I've taken care of that. Old pair of gloves of mine. Just find them here in this drawer, remember that.
All right.
Let's see now, oh, yeah, sash cord. I'm sure this ought to serve the purpose. Shouldn't have any trouble.
Yeah. Piece of rope's pretty new. It's a little slippery.
Won't be with the gloves on. She's not very strong. Shouldn't have any trouble. I'll leave the rope here in the closet.
You sure she's going to be alone?
Positive.
Where am I supposed to hide?
I'll show you. Here. Right by the front door. Closet.
Yeah.
My wife comes in, closes the door. She'll probably go right to the bedroom and take off her coat. Follow her in and do it fast while the back's turned. No screaming. Neighbors might hear.
All right.
Want to clean and quiet. Do it as quickly as you can. Now, when you're finished, here's what I want you to do with her.
What's that?
Take the body and bring it this way. Come here. I want you to see.
All right.
That's the living room to these French doors. Open this one. You won't have any trouble. Take the body out here on the porch. Come with me now. I want you to get this clear in your mind.
Yeah, I think I've got it.
Take her down to this end of the porch. Right to the railing. Leave her here. It's very important. You understand? All the way down to the end of the porch here.
I don't get it, but I guess it's all right.
All right, let's go back in.
Look, Stone, I may forget the layout of this house here. If you draw a floor plan for me. I don't want to get mixed up here.
No, there's paper in the desk there. You can draw it yourself before you leave tonight.
What's the matter? Don't you trust me?
Can't afford to take any chances. Now, what was it? Yeah. After you finish using the rope, I mean.
Yeah.
We found some rings on my wife's fingers. Take them all off. Big setting especially. There'll be a bracelet on her left wrist. Take that too.
What'll I do with them?
Put them in this white vase in the mantle here. The rings and the bracelet. Don't miss any of the rings. They're expensive.
Well, how about me bringing them to you? I can pick up my dough at the same time.
No, put them in the vase. As soon as that's done, leave here and go back downtown. I'll fix her up before we miss tonight. 6 in Alameda. 7:30 sharp. I have the money for you then.
So you're going to be at 6 o'clock?
I have to cover myself. I'll stay on at the office. Special conference.
I don't know. I don't think I like this.
What do you mean you don't like it?
Suppose something should happen. I got no protection. I'd feel a lot better with a gun.
I told you I don't have a gun to give you. Why would you need one anyway?
Just feel a lot better, that's all.
Buy one if you want. That's your problem. I'm paying you for a job.
I haven't seen your money.
I told you, when the job's done, you get your money then.
There's just one thing I want to make sure of. No mistakes here.
Don't worry, you get your pay. Ask Trudeau if you like. He'll tell you can trust him. You can ask anybody.
How about your wife? Before I left Charles Stone, I got one more valuable piece of evidence out of him, a special phone number written in his handwriting on the back of one of his business cards. In case anything went wrong, I was to call him at this number. In his own handwriting, I also got a list of times that I was supposed to remember. When to come to the house, when to leave, when to meet him for the payoff. The next afternoon at 3:30, I left the hotel and drove my car out to Venice to Stone's beach house. Captain Speed and another officer from Homicide followed me out. They waited in the house together. Shortly before 6 p.m., Mrs. Mildred Stone arrived with Biff, Ben, and Gil and Phoenix. She refused to believe the story of her husband's plot to have her murdered. Captain Speed laid out the evidence for her.
This key, Mrs. Stone, you recognize it?
Yes, it's the one for the front door. Must be Charles.
He gave it to this officer, Mrs. Stone, the man who was supposed to murder you.
No, I don't believe it.
Do you have any idea what's in that closet, man, that one over there?
There's nothing in there. I cleaned it out the last time we were here. I cleaned out all the closets.
I'd like to show it to you, man.
Here's a rope. I never saw that there before.
Mr. Stone gave it to me. It's supposed to be the murder weapon.
Just one more point, ma'am. Over here, please. Do you know what's in this drawer here?
Empty. It has to be. We never keep anything in there. Only when we move down to the summer months.
Joe? Right. Care of your husband's old gloves. Is that right, ma'am?
Well, why would they be there? What for?
I was supposed to wear them while I was in the house so I wouldn't leave fingerprints.
Do you mind if I sit down?
Here you are.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Stone. We know it's a terrible shock for you. I think you realize we had to tell you.
It's all right. You've been very kind. You saved my life. I'm sorry now that happened. It would have been better if he'd succeeded. Much better.
Take it easy, Mrs. Stone.
Terrible, terrible shame. Is there anything I can do for him?
He wanted to have you murdered, ma'am.
I know that. He wanted me dead.
Yes, ma'am.
There's only one thing.
Yeah?
He's my husband, Sergeant. I love him.
6:45 p.m. I telephoned Charles Stone and told him the job was done. His wife was murdered. He said he'd meet me at 6 in Alameda Street for the payoff as scheduled. I waited. He failed to show up. At 7:30 p.m., Stone was placed under arrest as he parked his car in front of their Venice beach house. A loaded .32 caliber revolver was found in his pocket. He was taken back to the city hall, the chief detective's office. Ben and I waited outside the open door. We could hear Thad Brown start the interrogation inside.
You know what we have you down here for, Mr. Stone? No, I haven't the faintest idea. What would you say if I told you your wife had been murdered? I think you're crazy. What would you say if I told you that you're accused of a murder? It's silly. It's ridiculous. I've been at work all day. I can prove it. All right, Friday, come in. Friday. You ever meet this man before? I've seen him on Skid Row. I don't know him. Do you recognize the man you hired to kill your wife? I didn't know the man. I didn't kill my wife. I don't understand all this.
The name's Kelly, Mr. Stone.
He's some fake officer. He's Skid Row bum. I don't know him.
I don't think that's going to make it, Stone. Both you and your wife have been tailed constantly for the last couple of days. Photographs taken. Midget auto races. 6 on Alameda. Beverly Hills apartment.
Crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. Mike, would you send the lady in, please? Mildred, you don't believe all these things you're saying about me, do you?
Here are the rings, Charles. The bracelet, too. I didn't realize how much you wanted them.
I didn't know them. I don't know what I was thinking of.
There, Charles. It's all right now. You'll feel better in a few minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
us all, Friday.
Right.
What's it look like, Joe?
He's starting to talk.
Got me. He tries to have her murdered. She goes to bat for him.
What's the proof?
He's son must know him. What do you think?
How about a cup of coffee?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On May 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. To the working detective, the difference between guilt and innocence is proof, in the form of physical evidence, in the form of testimony gathered from reliable witnesses. In determining any suspect's guilt or innocence, the difference is actual proof. And when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality. And Fatima is extra mild. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima. You'll find Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Charles Farnsworth Stone was tried and convicted on soliciting the commission of a felony, 2 counts. He received a sentence as prescribed by law. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, is brought to Dragnet from Los Angeles. Hi, folks. This is Bob on the air for Chesterfield. Every Tuesday night, consult your local paper for time and space and hope.
And Bing, on the air for Chesterfield every Wednesday night, Crosby. I've called this little seminar to teach our new boy the ropes.
Say, Sag, I think it's only fair to warn you, with me selling Chesterfields this year, you'll have to limp along lively to keep up.
Okay. Since when have you been any competition, lover boy? When we're in pictures together, who always gets the girl?
Which only backs up the old saying, everybody loves a fat man.
Seriously, friends, Skinflint and I, we do agree 100% on this. Chesterfields are milder.
And they leave no unpleasant aftertaste. So always buy our cigarettes, Chesterfield.
The best cigarette for you to smoke.
Hear Hope and Crosby Tuesday. Next, We the People on NBC.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. You get a call that a downtown hotel has been held up by a bandit who carries a sawed-off shotgun. Your job? Find him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, October 9th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 2:06 a.m. when we got to the corner of Cinnabar Street and Grand Avenue. The Brinton Hotel.
Well, I just done what he told me. I figured there was no point in getting myself all roiled up. Didn't see where that would be helping matters.
Yes, sir.
Whatever he said, I done it. Hey, you fellas looking for a room?
Police officers, this is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Are you from robbery?
That's right.
Roberts, 1F16.
Mm-hmm. You answered the call?
Yeah. The description's out. Metro's sending a couple of cars to help us look for the suspect.
All right, good.
Anything else I can do for you?
No, not right now.
Okay. I'll take care of the report.
Thank you. We'll check with you.
Right.
You know, I sure would have been wrong about you two.
What's that?
I never would have guessed you was cops.
Oh?
Salesmen. That's what I'd put you boys down for.
I see.
Ladies ready to wear. Guess I would have missed the boat this time.
Yes, sir. Would you tell us about the holdup, please?
I thought them other officers already let you in on it.
Well, we'd like to get the details from you if we could.
Oh. Well, I ain't got nothing better to do. Stuck here till 7 a.m. anyhow.
Wonder if we could have your name.
Boxer, Tom Boxer.
That's Boxer?
That's it, just like a dog.
Mm-hmm. What time did the robbery take place?
45 minutes ago, along around 1:20, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't 1:30 yet, I'm sure of that.
Oh?
See, I was listening to the radio. Stan Swift.
Who's that?
You know Stan Swift. He's on every night, midnight till 6, 7 nights a week.
Oh, yeah.
The nights go swifter with Swift. That's how he puts it.
Uh-huh.
Gives a time signal every hour and every half hour. Remember him giving the 1 a.m.? Hadn't given the 1:30 yet, so it must have been around 1:20 when this fella come into the hotel.
What'd he do?
Walked up to the desk.
Yes, sir.
I didn't even know he was there. Not at first.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting down in that chair, kind of had my back away from the door. Didn't hear him neither on account of being plugged in.
What was that?
To my radio.
Oh, I see.
This here gadget, see?
Mm-hmm.
It's into your ear, like so.
Yeah, I understand.
Lets you listen without waking nobody up. Other end attaches to the set, like so.
Mm-hmm.
You mean that's a radio?
Sure is. You ain't never seen this kind before, huh?
No, sir.
Transistor.
Oh.
That's what they call it. Regency transistor. Ain't got no tubes. That's what makes it so small, you see? Carry it around in your pocket if you have a mind to.
I see.
Real good tone, though. Plenty of volume if you want to let it out.
Yes, sir. Now, if you just tell us about the robbery, would you, Mr. Boxer, please?
Well, ain't that what I've been doing?
Yes, sir. You said this man walked up to the desk?
That is right. Maybe stood there a couple of seconds before I sensed him.
Mm-hmm.
Unplugged myself, got up and asked him if he wanted a room. He said he did, single.
Yes, sir.
Checked the boxes to see what was vacant. Had my back to him while I was checking. Didn't notice him opening up his satchel.
Mm-hmm.
Must have been carrying the gun there, in the satchel. Anyway, when I turned around to register him, I found myself staring into the barrel. Shotgun it was.
All right, go ahead, please.
This is a stick-up, he said. Do what I tell you, and you won't get hurt. I didn't know whether he meant business or not, and I sure didn't aim to test him to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir, I said. You just tell me what you want, and I'll do it.
Yeah.
I ain't no coward, you understand, but I ain't no hero neither, especially when I'm facing up to a shotgun.
Sure.
Like the man says, only real heroes a dead hero.
Yes, sir.
Me, I'd just as soon go on living. That's why I done exactly what he told me. Give him the money from the cash drawer here. See? Every penny. Hand it all over to him. Didn't try to hold none back.
Yes, sir. How much was there?
$60, somewhere in between there.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Well, he told me to empty my pockets, lay the stuff on the desk.
You did, huh?
I emptied them. I didn't have more than $3 or $4 in change. He scooped it up with the other money, shoved it into his satchel.
I see.
Then he said for me to come out from behind this desk, walked me over to the elevator, told me to get inside and ride up to the top floor. That'd be the third. You see, the hotel's 3 stories high.
Yes, sir, I understand.
I suppose I could have got off on number 2. He would have known the difference. Floor indicator down there don't work.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see where I'd be gaining anything by it, so I done what he told me. I rode up to 3.
How long did you wait there?
Oh, till I seen him leave the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
From the window end of the 3rd floor hall.
Did he drive away?
No, just strolled off. I don't think he had a car.
I see.
Turned the corner, and that was the last of him.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do then?
Took the elevator back down, called the police, listened to the radio while I was waiting.
Yes, sir.
Figured I might as well take it easy till the cops come. Wasn't more than 5 minutes before them officers walked in. A little while later, you fellas walked in. I guess you know when that was.
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Boxer, could you tell us what he looked like?
Huh?
The man who held you up.
Oh, well, I told them other fellas, the ones wearing uniforms, they said they'd send out his description.
Yes, sir, we understand. We'd like to have it, too.
Okay. Oh, young fella, 25 to 30, I judge.
No.
Big build, a little bigger than you.
Mm-hmm.
Not as big as you, though. Somewhere in between.
Yes, sir.
Black hair. Didn't catch the color of his eyes. Well, that's about all.
How was he dressed?
Oh, suit. Stripe in it, I think. Maybe dark blue with a gray stripe. Bow tie. Kind of dapper.
Mm-hmm.
Have any scars?
Not where you'd notice them.
He said he carried the gun in a satchel, is that right?
Must have been where he had it. Didn't actually see him take it out, though. Back was to him at the time.
How big was the satchel?
Oh, medium-sized, about so long.
Any initials on it?
No, not so far as I can recall.
What about the gun? How big was it?
This long, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Single barrel, sawed off.
Could you tell the make?
Well, I ain't no expert on shotguns.
No.
Would you know this man if you saw him again?
Sure, I'd be a fool not to. Why?
I'd like to have you come down to City Hall in the morning, Mr. Boxer, if you would.
But what for?
I want to show you some photographs, see if we can pick them out.
You mean this morning?
Yes, sir, if you would.
It's Sunday.
Yes, sir, that's right.
You fellas work on Sunday?
Well, we're not the only one.
Well, what do you mean?
He did. Frank and I checked with the patrol officers who had answered Mr. Boxer's call. They told us that a search of the immediate vicinity had failed to turn up anyone who answered the suspect's description. 3:16 a.m., the crew from the crime lab finished up their investigation. There were no useful fingerprints or other physical evidence in the lobby of the hotel. 7:38 a.m., we checked the suspect's M.O. and the description with the stats office. They came up with 18 possibles. We pulled the packages from R&I and took them back to the office.
Well, looks like it might rain.
Pretty early in the season, isn't it?
Yeah, the paper says we're going to have a wet winter.
All right.
Real good for skiing, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what you need. Lots of moisture. Heavy snow.
You never go skiing.
No.
Well.
No, I thought about taking it up a couple of years ago. Faye blew her stack, though. Said I'd probably break my neck first time I tried.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think she worries more about me than she does about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, gents.
Oh, hi, sir.
Hope I haven't kept you waiting.
No, sir, not a bit. How are you today, Mr. Boxer?
Sleepy. Usually get a couple of hours cat nap during my shift. Kind of missed out on it last night.
Yes, sir, I'm afraid you did.
Even after all you fellows left, somehow I just couldn't doze off. Listen to Stan Swift till 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bet you I know more about Egypt than a real live Egyptian. Well, you got them pictures you wanted to show me?
Yes, sir, right over here.
It's all right if I sit down?
Yeah, go right ahead. There you are.
This the pile?
Yes, sir, take your time. Look at each one as long as you like.
Okay. Hey, pretty tough bunch of boys.
Yeah.
No, it's not him. No. Nope. Well, hey, wait a minute. There is a resemblance. He looks something like this one here.
Is it the same man, Mr. Boxer?
Oh, no, not the same.
Yeah.
Similar type, though. Does that help you any?
Might. You want to go through the others?
Sure. Now, you see this fella?
Yes, sir.
He's not the same type at all.
No.
The other one I pointed out was, you can see the difference yourself.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Not him. Not him either. Nope. This is closer to him.
Sir?
Not as close as that one, the other one, but closer.
Yes, sir.
Now we're getting further away. No, it's none of these. Is that all you got?
Afraid so.
Well, it's the best I can do for you. Now, this one here, the one I pointed out first.
Yeah, we understand, but it's not the same man, you see.
Well, I never said it was. Just said they were similar.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm sorry we wasted your time.
Oh, it wasn't no waste of time, not as far as I'm concerned.
Huh?
Remember my telling you about how I try to guess what different folks do for a living?
Yeah.
Looking at all these pictures will be a big help from now on.
How's that?
I'll know a crook when I see one.
On the following Sunday, October 16th, 2 more hotels were held up by a shotgun bandit. Both robberies occurred during the early morning hours. Both hotels were small. The description of the suspect and his M.O. indicated that he was the same man who had robbed the Brinton Hotel. Frank and I continued our investigation, but we failed to turn up any leads. During the next week, all hotels in the downtown area were alerted. Sunday, October 23rd, the night manager of the Schaefer Arms near the corner of Broadway and Clay reported that he had been robbed at approximately 3:30 a.m. He confirmed the bandit's description and M.O., but was unable to add anything new. The next morning, October 24th, we had a conference with Chief Brown.
Doesn't sound to me like you're any closer to him than we were 2 weeks ago. What do you got?
No, not much.
Let's have it.
Description?
Pretty general, isn't it?
Afraid so.
What else?
Well, now he's only worked one area.
Yeah?
All the hotels are within a mile of Pershing Square.
Nothing to keep him from spreading out, is there?
So far, he hasn't used a car.
You figure he pulled these jobs on foot?
Looks that way.
Then he must live downtown somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Anything about the hotels that might give us a tip-off on his next move?
Yeah, they're all small, only one person on duty.
Uh-huh.
We've marked all the possibles here on a map. You want to take a look at it?
Yeah.
Okay, right here. These are the ones he's already hit. Here, over here.
Tight little group?
Yeah. These circles indicate all the other hotels of a similar nature in the downtown area.
Uh-huh. Well, he works on Sundays, huh?
That's right.
What do you got planned for this Sunday?
Well, we'll stake out as many as we can. We've asked Metro to give us a hand. We figure we'll have enough men to cover about, 20 likelies, maybe.
We plan to run the stakes from midnight till 6 a.m. When he hits, it's usually between 2 and 4.
How's it sound to you?
About all we can do.
Yeah.
I want you both stay on this between now and Sunday. See if you can't pick up a lead somewhere.
We will.
Informant's been able to give you anything?
Nope.
They holding out?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they know who he is.
Well, maybe the stakes will work.
Maybe.
Wait a minute. Let me see that map again.
Right here.
Funny. See here?
Yeah.
You said these are the places he's already robbed?
That's right.
All right together. Draw a line from one to the other and you'd have a square.
Yeah.
What's this right in the middle of the square?
It's the Argus Hotel on South Broadway.
That's one he hasn't hit yet.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like your best bet, then.
Yeah, that's the way we figured it.
Who's going to cover it Sunday?
Well, Smith and I thought we'd take it.
That's a coincidence. Just who I was going to suggest.
During the rest of the week, we continued our investigation, but we failed to turn up any additional information about the suspect. A few minutes before midnight on Saturday, October 29th, men from Metro and Robbery Division staked out 22 locations in the downtown area. Sunday, October 30th, 12:05 a.m., Frank and I entered the lobby of the Argus Hotel, and we walked up to the desk.
Sorry, we're full up.
Like to talk to the manager if we can.
I said we're full up.
We're police officers.
Huh?
This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh,
Could we see the manager?
I'm the manager.
You own this hotel?
Me and my husband.
Well, maybe we better talk to him.
Go ahead. If you can find him.
Isn't he here?
Nope.
Would you know where he is?
Nope. Not getting drunk, probably.
I see.
I work nights, he works days. He don't tell me where he goes at night. I don't tell him what I do during the day. That's our arrangement.
Mm.
It don't make for a real happy marriage, but it keeps us from killing each other.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there somebody who could take over for you here tonight?
Nope.
Now, you're sure your husband didn't say where he was going?
We don't talk.
Oh.
He wants me to know something. He writes me a note, leaves it on the desk, and I do the same for him.
I see.
We ain't exchanged no words for the last 2 years.
Uh-huh.
Saves a lot of wear and tear on the nervous system. He never said nothing worth listening to anyway.
I see.
Well, what do you fellas want?
Well, ma'am, several hotels have been held up downtown lately.
Yeah.
You were warned about it, weren't you?
George was warned, left me a note.
I see. Well, there's a chance he might come here tonight.
If he does, I'm ready for him. Got me a gun. Pistol. Keep in the cash drawer, see?
Yes, ma'am.
I know how to use it, too. He shows up, I'm ready for him.
Is there someplace we could wait in case he does?
You don't have to. I don't need no protection. Told you. I've got a gun.
Yes, ma'am. So's he. Mrs. Argus finally agreed to let us stake out the hotel. She showed us into a small room off the lobby. From there, Frank and I could see anybody who entered. During the next 4 hours, only 2 people requested accommodations. They were both middle-aged men, and neither one of them in any way resembled the suspect's description.
What time you got, Joe?
See, 5 after 4.
Huh? Latest he ever pulled a job was 3:30.
Yeah.
Maybe he decided to lay off tonight.
Maybe.
Argus Hotel. Who? Oh, yeah. Hey, you guys in there?
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody wants you on the phone.
Okay, I'll be right over.
In the booth.
Yes, ma'am. Friday. No, wait a minute. Okay. What's that address? Yeah, I got it, thanks. Right.
What's up?
Looks like we staked out the wrong places.
Yeah?
All-night cafe on South Main. The owner was held up. He's pretty badly wounded.
Huh?
Sawed-off shotgun. Frank and I drove over to the Joplin Grill at the corner of Main and Vincent Place. We talked to the patrol car officers who had discovered Fred Joplin's body. They told us Joplin was unconscious when they found him. They said that they'd called an ambulance and that he'd been taken to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. We telephoned the hospital and asked them to be notified as soon as the victim was available for questioning. 4:42 a.m., Lieutenant Lee Jones and the crew from the crime lab began their investigation. Frank and I went back to the office. October 30th, 10:17 a.m., Georgia Street reported that Joplin had recovered consciousness. We drove down there and talked to Dr. Sebastian. He said that Joplin was suffering from shock and loss of blood. He also said that Joplin's right shoulder was severely lacerated and that there was a possibility the arm would have to be amputated. 10:46 a.m., we interviewed the victim.
Sat down on the stool and asked for a cup of coffee.
Yes, sir.
I turned around, picked up the Silex, started filling the cup. Time I was finished, he'd got his gun out. Guess he had it in that bag he's carrying.
Yes, sir.
Told me it was a stick-up. Said to give him the money from the register or he'd shoot me. Mm-hmm. I didn't say nothing. Just stood there kind of staring at him.
Yeah.
He raised up his gun. Shotgun it was.
Yes, sir.
I mean business, mister. That's what he said next. I mean business.
I see.
I still didn't say nothing. Just stood there with that cup of coffee in my hand. Start moving, he said. Voice sounded real low and mean. Didn't seem to match his face. Sort of a pleasant-looking fella. Voice was mean, though.
Yeah.
Started gesturing with that shotgun, pointing toward the register. That's when I let fly. With a cup of coffee. Smashed it right into his face.
I see.
Must have given quite a jolt.
Yes, sir.
Didn't keep him from shooting me, but it sure wrecked his aim some. Leastways, I'm still here. Don't remember nothing after that.
I see.
Sure, hit him a good one, though. Them coffee cups ain't the lightest things in the world.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Not to mention the coffee itself. Scalding hot it was. Right here. That's where I belted him. Right in the jaw. Used to be a ball player, you know.
Is that right?
Wasn't a pro exactly, but I had a first-rate pitching arm. Lefty Joplin, that's what they used to call me. Back in Junction City, Kansas it was. Local merchant sponsored our team. Pitched 16 winners one season. Best record in the league.
Yes, sir, that's very good.
Well, I ain't lost all my technique. Leastways, I sure whacked him with that cup.
Yes, sir.
Doc say anything to you fellas about how I'm doing?
Well, just that you're getting along.
He make up his mind about my right arm yet?
What?
Whether I'm going to lose it or not?
No, sir, he didn't tell us.
Guess in a way I'm kind of lucky.
What?
Being left-handed.
We asked the victim, Fred Joplin, to describe the suspect. The description he gave us tallied with what we already had. 11:17 a.m. Frank and I went back to the office.
I can't figure it out, Joe.
What?
Why he'd switched from hotels to a cafe.
Well, maybe he tumbled to our steakhouse.
Yeah, I thought sure he'd try the Argus, though. It's the right spot for him. I get it.
Robbery Friday. I see. Yeah. Anything else? Well, give us something to go on anyway. Thank you. Right. Lee Jones in the lab.
What's he got?
Well, Joplin was right. He sure didn't miss with that coffee cup.
They find the pieces?
More than that.
Huh?
Found a broken front tooth. Analysis of the broken tooth revealed that it was part of a lower incisor. From what we learned of the suspect, it seemed likely that he would make an immediate effort to have the tooth replaced. For the next 3 days, Frank and I interviewed dentists in the immediate vicinity of the robberies. Thursday, November 3rd, 3:17 p.m. We questioned Dr. Clinton Potterfield in his office on the second floor of the Marsh building.
Yes, I believe I had such a patient last Monday.
Broken incisor?
Yes, that's right.
Could you tell us what he looked like?
Oh, young man, about 30, nicely dressed, seemed very pleasant.
Did he say what had happened to his tooth?
Yes, he did. Automobile accident.
I see.
He knocked it against the steering wheel. He wanted a new fitting right away.
Yes, sir.
Agreed to make him a temporary as soon as I could. It should be finished tomorrow. He offered to pay me extra if I'd hurry it up. I told him you can't rush a new bridge, even a temporary.
Yes, sir. Did he give you his name and address?
Well, not me personally. My receptionist takes care of those details.
Yes, I understand. Would you mind checking with her?
No, not a bit. Excuse me.
It's about time we got a break.
Oh.
Hey, look out there. Starting to rain.
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah, just like the paper said. It's going to be a wet winter.
Here you are, gentlemen. I had her copied down for you.
Thank you. Philip Seaver.
Yes, that's correct. His address is right there, too.
Yeah. Well, at least we know one thing now.
What's that?
Why he skipped over the Argus Hotel.
Yeah?
He lives there. .3:58 p.m. Frank and I drove over to the Argus Hotel, and we talked to the owner, George Argus. He told us that Philip Seaver lived on the second floor, room 23. He said that Seaver was a quiet young man who had been staying at the hotel for the past 6 weeks. He also told us that Seaver worked nights and was probably in his room now. We took the elevator up to the second floor.
There it is.
All right.
Yeah.
All right,
Hey,
face off
that
that
against the wall there.
What?
Move.
I sure don't know what this is all about.
Oh, he's clean, Joe.
All right, turn around.
Okay.
Where's the shotgun?
You guys must be off your rockers.
I'll see what I can turn up.
All right.
You got no right to come busting in here.
Yeah.
Now, what would I be doing with the shotgun?
Why don't you tell us?
I never had a gun in my life. Boy, you cops sure make the darndest mistakes. I bet you pick the wrong guy up half the time.
Yeah, sure.
Look, there's nothing in that bureau except my clothes there, fella.
Yeah, what about this?
Well, it's just a satchel, that's all.
It's locked.
Where's the key?
I don't know. I lost it.
Break it open.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good bag.
Not worth anything to you without a key, is it? All right, Seeker, let's go.
How the heck did that get in there?
You don't know.
I told you I didn't.
Yeah.
I never had a shotgun in my life.
Well, you got one now.
Oh, I must have picked up the wrong bag by mistake. Sure, that's what happened.
All right, come on, Seeker.
Okay, I'm coming. Get down!
Cut your hand?
Be all right.
Look at that.
Huh?
You must have bad ones.
What's that?
Another tooth missing.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 12th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial. Philip Herbert Seaver was tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree, 5 counts, and received sentence as prescribed by law. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 5 years in the state penitentiary. Because of the viciousness of the suspect, it was decided that the terms would run consecutively. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. You get a call that someone has broken into a necktie manufacturer's. A large supply of hand-painted ties have been stolen. Your job? Check it out.
It was Saturday, September 10th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 8:31 a.m. when I got to room 45. Burglary.
Hi, Joe.
Morning. Anything for us?
Patrol car picked up a couple of high school kids about 3 a.m.
No?
Found them hanging around a filling station over on Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Jubin was checking them against those other filling station jobs last week. Just to let us know.
Okay.
Oh, it's going to be a scorcher.
Yeah.
You noticed it last night? The heat.
Oh, yeah, sure I did.
I don't think I slept more than 30 minutes. Wonder about air conditioning the house.
What?
It's pretty expensive, isn't it?
Well, I guess it depends, doesn't it?
Yeah. Be worth it, though, weather like this.
Well, we don't get these spells too often.
Well, I don't know, Joe. Lots of the new houses have air conditioning.
Yeah.
Just the bedroom might not cost too much. You know, one of those portable units.
Mm-hmm. I get it. Burglary Friday. Yes, sir. Just a second. All right, what's the address? All right. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir, I see. Right away. Bye. Tie manufacturing company out on Western. Somebody cleaned them out last night. Over 100 dozen neckties.
Yeah.
Owner says he knows who did it. Frank and I drove out to a small manufacturing shop on Southwestern Avenue. 9:03 a.m. We interviewed the owner, George Prosper. He told us the back door had been forced open during the night and that a large supply of hand-painted neckties had been stolen.
You see right here? The lock's broken.
Yes, sir.
That's how he got in. No mistake about it.
Uh-huh.
You take anything else beside the ties?
Oh, a little cash, $80, $90. But the ties are the important thing.
Oh?
Yeah, they're worth at least $5 a piece retail, all hand-painted, you know.
Yes, sir.
Some of them are worth more, special designs.
Why is that?
Well, they're made up for the individual, one of a kind.
Oh, I see.
Of course, most of the ties he stole weren't specials. They were from a wholesale stock, Christmas orders.
Mm-hmm.
I'll admit it doesn't feel very much like Christmas today, but we have to get our orders filled before the end of October.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly hope you'll be able to get the ties back for us in time.
Yes, sir. You said you had an idea who the thief might be.
Yeah, that's right. Morgan Gilroy.
Who's he?
Young fellow used to work for me. I let him go first last week.
Uh-huh.
Just wasn't dependable. Always late in the morning. Careless worker, too.
Yeah, well, why do you blame him for the burglary?
Well, he was very upset when I fired him. Said his wife was having a baby. Said I didn't have any right to let him go without notice.
I see.
Told him I'd warn him often enough. Gave him a whole week's pay, and that seemed more than fair to me.
Did he say anything else?
Well, yeah, he threatened me.
Oh.
Said I'd be sorry I fired him. Said I'd live to regret it. Made quite a scene. Told him if he didn't get out, I'd call the police.
Did he leave then?
Well, not right away. He quieted down some, asked me to change my mind and keep him on. Said he couldn't be out of work now, that he had to have a job on account of the baby. I told him there are plenty of jobs to be had. If a man really wants work, he can find it.
Yeah.
Different when I was his age. Had to earn your wages. And he'd take young fellas like Gilroy careless, irresponsible, always looking for shortcuts, always looking for an easy dollar. Never give value in return.
Yeah.
That's why I'm sure it was him. Just the sort of stunt he'd pull. Easy way to earn a dollar.
Well, then he's got something to learn, hasn't he? This was the hard way. Frank and I called the crime lab. While they checked the premises, we continued to interview the victim, George Prosper. He gave us a description of the suspect, Morgan Gilroy, and Gilroy's home address. They also gave us a detailed description of the stolen property. 10:17 a.m. The lab reported that they were unable to find any useful fingerprints on the jimmy door. Pictures of the jimmy marks were taken. There was no other physical evidence. 10:57 a.m. Frank and I drove out to the address Prosper had given us. It was a small apartment house on Fountain Avenue in Hollywood. The Gilroy apartment was number 7.
Yes?
Morgan Gilroy in?
No, he isn't.
You Mrs. Gilroy?
Yes, sir.
We're police officers, ma'am. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Pleased to meet you.
Be all right if we come in for a minute?
Oh, I guess it'll be all right.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I'm not fixed up. I kind of overslept this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you out late last night, Mrs. Gilroy?
No.
How about your husband?
What about him?
Was he out late? Well?
Don't you think you ought to tell me why you want to know?
It's a police matter.
Then maybe you'd better talk to Morgan.
Yes, ma'am. Do you know where he is?
At work.
Now, where's he work, Mrs. Gilroy?
For a tire manufacturer.
Which one, do you know?
Prosper's. George Prosper. That's the owner's name.
Mm-hmm.
How long has your husband worked for him?
6 or 7 months.
And that's where he went this morning, did he?
That's where he goes every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened to Morgan?
We'd like to talk to him, that's all.
Then why don't you? I told you where you could find him.
Yes, ma'am.
The Prosper Tie Company. I don't know what the address is, but it's in the phone book.
Well, we just came from there, Miss Gilroy.
Well, I don't understand. Didn't you see Morgan?
Your husband doesn't work for him anymore.
What?
He was let out last week.
What? I don't believe you.
That's what his boss told us.
Well, Morgan would have said something about it.
No.
Oh, you've made a mistake. You must be talking about a different person.
No, ma'am.
Well, it's got to be a mistake. Well, sure, Morgan gave me his paycheck last night. Every Friday night he gives me his paycheck. He got paid yesterday. The same as every week.
Do you still have the check?
No, not exactly.
What do you mean?
Well, it wasn't the check he gave me, not really.
Oh.
You see, he'd cashed it on his way home from work.
I see.
But it was the usual amount, $80. Mr. Prosper must have paid him.
What time did your husband get home, Miss Gilroy?
Last night?
That's right.
Well, he was later than usual.
How late?
If Morgan's in some kind of trouble, I've got a right to know. I've got a right, haven't I?
Well, suppose you just answer our questions, would you?
He wouldn't have done anything wrong. Not at a time like this. You see, we're going to have a baby.
I see.
Morgan doesn't even think about anything else. He wants everything to be just perfect when the baby comes. That's why he couldn't have done anything wrong. Do you understand what I'm getting at?
Yes, ma'am.
That's why, whatever it is, well, it just has to be a mistake.
Well, you can help us clear it up.
All right.
What time did he come home?
About 2:15.
A.M.
Yes, sir.
Did he say where he'd been?
He called from the shop about 5:30 yesterday afternoon. Said they had a rush shipment to get out, that he'd be working late. Told me not to wait up for him.
Had he ever worked this late before?
Once or twice. Not till 2:15, maybe, but till nearly midnight.
Were you awake when he got home?
Yes, sir.
Then you're sure of the time, 2:15.
Yes, sir, I'm sure. You see, I couldn't get to sleep. I was kind of worried about him. I guess I kept watching the clock. It was 2:15 when he came in.
What did he say?
He was kind of put out, provoked about my still being awake. Said I ought to get my rest on account of the baby. I guess I sort of flared back. I said it was his fault on account of him being out so late. Oh, it wasn't a real fight or anything like that.
Yes,
He said I oughtn't to blame him, that we'd need all the extra money he could make. And he took out his wallet and gave me this week's pay, like I told you.
Mm-hmm. Did he bring anything else home with him, Mrs. Gilroy?
With him?
Extra clothes, ties, anything like that?
No.
You mind if I look around the apartment?
Well, I know where everything is. If you'll tell me what you're looking for, maybe I can help you.
Oh, that's all right. I can make out. It's just the bedroom?
Yes, the bed isn't made.
Don't worry about it.
I wasn't feeling very good this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like some coffee?
No, ma'am, thank you.
What about your friend?
No, I don't think so.
Did Mr. Prosper really say he fired Morgan?
Yes, ma'am.
Or did he say why?
Well, you better ask your husband about that.
Just isn't fair. In a time like this. They don't appreciate Morgan. None of the people he's worked for.
Yeah.
Man does his best. This is the thanks he gets.
Miss Gilroy, these ties belong to your husband?
Why, yes.
You know where he got them?
Sure, there's some he made at the shop. Samples.
I see.
Does he have any more of the same kind?
I don't think so. Don't tell me all this fuss is about a couple of ties.
Well, it's a few more than that, ma'am.
Oh?
100 dozen. Except for the 3 ties which Frank had found in the bedroom, we were unable to turn up anything else that seemed to answer the description of the stolen property. 12:15 p.m. Frank stayed at the Gilroy apartment to wait for the suspect while I drove back to the tie factory. George Prosper identified the ties taken from Gilroy's closet. He said that they were samples manufactured in his plant. He also said that they had been given to the suspect and had not been stolen. 1:36 p.m. I checked Gilroy's name through R&I. They had nothing on him. 2:17 p.m. I returned to the suspect's apartment.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. Any sign of him?
No, not so far.
Where's Miss Gilroy?
She's lying down.
Oh.
She's taking this pretty hard on all the pieces after you left.
That's a shame.
I guess you can't blame her much.
No.
And the heat and all. She's bound to be upset. Find out anything?
Well, these are Gilroy's ties.
Yeah.
Prosper gave them to him. Says they're somewhat similar to the ones that were stolen, but they're not the same.
Uh-huh.
Now, you want to go out for a sandwich?
Yeah, I guess so. You eat already?
No, I wasn't hungry.
Mm-hmm. Can I bring you back something?
Oh, milkshake, maybe. That'll do it.
Okay. Chocolate?
Yeah, fine.
I won't be long.
Frank?
Yeah?
Miss Gilroy's all right, isn't she?
Well, I guess so.
I mean, she doesn't need a doctor or anything like that.
Well, I don't know, Joe.
Well, you'd know more about it than I do.
Well, I suppose if she needs a doctor, she'd call one.
Yeah. Well, hurry it up anyway, will you?
Sure.
I thought I... Oh, you.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened to the other officer?
Went out to get some lunch.
Oh,
You feeling better?
yes, thank you. The apartment's so stuffy today. That's what it was.
Yes, ma'am.
No, that isn't what it was at all.
Ma'am?
You and that other policeman. You've got me so nervous I don't know whether I'm coming or going.
Well, I'm sorry we had to bother you.
You're just wasting your time. Morgan won't be home before 6 o'clock. He never gets off work, and I can't seem to get it through my head that he's not at the shop.
Yes, ma'am.
Look, the minute he comes in, I'll telephone you. Or if I hear from him, I promise, the minute he comes in.
Well, it might be better if we wait.
Won't you try to believe me? Morgan's honest, completely honest.
Yes, ma'am.
He hasn't done anything wrong. If he had, I'd know it. He'd have told me.
And there's one thing he didn't tell you, Miss Gilroy.
Oh?
That money he brought home last night.
Well?
Where it came from. Frank and I waited in the apartment until the suspect, Morgan Gilroy, came home. 6:17 p.m. We took him into custody and drove him down to the city hall for questioning. He was very uncooperative and for nearly an hour refused to discuss his whereabouts the previous night. 7:08 p.m. We continued the interrogation.
How'd you happen to lose your job last week, Gilroy?
Ask the boss.
He says you weren't dependable.
That's his opinion.
You afraid to tell your wife he fired you?
Who says I didn't tell her?
Did you?
Well, maybe you'll feel more like talking in the morning.
Morning?
That's right.
You can't keep me down here tonight.
Is that right?
You want to drive Judy out of her mind? You saw how she acted when you guys took me in. Well, what are you trying to do to her?
We're not doing anything to her, Gilroy. All we want is some straight answers from you.
It wasn't enough losing my job just when I needed it the most. Now you guys got to crawl on my back, too.
When'd you get your last paycheck?
From Prosper?
Yeah.
The day he fired me?
That was last week sometime.
I guess so.
You gave your wife some money just last night.
So?
You told her it was this week's pay.
Well, I had to tell her something, didn't I?
Yeah.
I didn't want her worrying about me being out of work. I had to tell her something.
Where'd you get the money?
Borrowed it.
Yeah.
Maybe it looked like I was stealing, but I wasn't. I was going to tell him I was taking it. It was just a loan until I started drawing unemployment. I thought we was buddies, Steve and me. Some buddy turned you over to the cops for a lousy $80.
Who's Steve?
Steve McGill. Isn't that why you picked me up?
When were you with this, McGill?
Last night.
What time?
5 o'clock on.
Till when?
It must have been nearly 2. It was a little after when I got home.
Where were you?
I met Steve at a bar over in Vermont.
What's the name of it?
Black Pony.
What'd you do then?
I had a couple of drinks, bite to eat.
All right, go ahead.
Some other guys came in, friends of Steve's. I met them once or twice, too.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said, let's get up a poker game. I told him I couldn't afford it. I didn't have any cash to spare. Steve said for me not to worry, that if I ran short, he'd stake me.
Yeah.
We all went over to his place. I did real good for the first couple of hours. Only had $5 to start with, ran it up to over 100.
Is that right?
They were all ribbing me about how I was the one that didn't want to play.
Yeah.
Along about midnight, my luck started turning. By 1:30, I was cleaned out. Always seemed to be second high. Get a straight, sure as fate somebody else would have a flush, second high.
The game break up at 1:30?
Well, they played on a little longer without me, 15, 20 minutes. I stayed on because I wanted to make a touch from Steve after the other guys went home.
All right, go ahead.
I didn't know how to bring up the subject. Not that Steve can't afford it. He's got plenty of dough, and he won over a couple of hundred in the game. I was kind of beating around the bush, and all of a sudden I noticed how drunk he was. Couldn't get his pants off. Just toppled over on the bed and went to sleep. At least he sure looked like he was asleep. Money was still laying there on the table where we'd been playing, over $200. I only took 80. That ought to prove I ain't a thief. If I was, I'd have taken it all.
What'd you do then?
I went home.
Did you stop off on the way?
Well, I couldn't have. Ask Judy. She'll tell you. I was there by a little after 2.
Were you in the neighborhood of the tie factory last night?
No, within a half a mile. What's that got to do with it, anyhow?
Where does this friend of yours live?
Steve?
That's right.
A little street just off Western, Gramercy Place.
You got a telephone?
I guess so.
You know the number?
Not offhand. It must be in the book.
I'll check it, Joe. Last name's McGill, huh?
That's right. What the heck's going on here? You guys didn't even know about Steve. He didn't turn me in. Well, who did?
A lot of ties were stolen last night. Factory you used to work for.
Ties?
That's right.
You think I had something to do with it?
Your ex-boss does.
Well, he hasn't got any right to accuse me.
You threatened to make trouble.
Well, I may have sounded off when he fired me, but it was just talk. How could I make trouble for him?
Somebody did. We were unable to contact the suspect's friend, Steve McGill, until the following morning. He confirmed the story Gilroy had told us and refused to press any charges against him. From McGill, we got the names of the other 3 men who had played cards the night the tie factory was broken into. They also confirmed Gilroy's alibi. Sunday, September 11th, 10:46 a.m. Morgan Gilroy was released. Frank and I went back to the office.
Now we got nothing.
That's right.
You think his wife was telling the truth? About him getting home at 2:15.
We can't prove he didn't.
No, I guess not.
Well, it seems to be cooling off a little, doesn't it?
Yeah. Probably would have been able to sleep last night, too.
Yeah.
That's my luck.
Well, maybe you can grab a nap this afternoon.
No, I don't feel right when I sleep in the daytime, Joe. Isn't good for a person, you know. Throws your system right out of whack. Except for my brother-in-law, Armin. He can sleep anytime, any place. No strain at all.
Here you go. Burglary Friday. Yes, sir. Uh-huh. Yeah, I've got it. When did it happen? I see. Right. Bye. Men's clothing store out on Crenshaw. Owner came in this morning to do some work on the books. Somebody had jimmied the back door during the night. Stole a supply of suits, slacks, sport coats.
Yeah.
And a batch of hand-painted ties. Frank and I drove out to Nimbo's men's store on Crenshaw Boulevard. We talked to the owner, Carl Nimbo. He showed us how the store had been entered and gave us a description of the stolen merchandise. The thief had apparently followed the same M.O. that had been used on the Prosper Tie Company. We were unable to learn anything more about the suspect's identity. Several days later, a tie shop in Hollywood reported the loss of over 200 knit ties. The following night, a men's clothing store on Wilshire Boulevard was burglarized. Investigation indicated that all these crimes were the work of the same man or men. Burglars who were known to have used similar M.O.s were interrogated. No leads were developed. Monday, September 19th, 8:06 p.m. Frank and I were getting ready to go off duty.
You want to stop by the house on your way home?
No, I'm pretty tired. I think I'll hit the sack early.
We could watch a little TV. It's supposed to be a good fight tonight.
It's too late for that now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Oh, we could watch something else. You're not going to go to sleep at 8 o'clock, are you?
No.
Well, come on, then. I'll get it.
All right.
Burglary, Smith. Who? Oh, yes, sir. Sure, I remember. Yes, sir. I see. What's that address? We'll meet you out in front. Right away, yes, sir. Guy owns that tie factory, George Prosper.
Yeah.
He's calling from a bar over on Normandy. One of his stolen ties just walked in.
We drove out to a small bar and grill on the corner of Normandy and Kingsley Drive. George Prosper was standing in front of the place when we pulled up. He walked over to us.
Evening, Mr. Prosper.
Good evening. How are you?
Pretty fair. You sure this is one of your ties now?
Positive. It was a special. Worked out the design myself.
I see.
There isn't another one like it anywhere.
I see. Can you point them out to us?
Mm-hmm. Now, you see, through the window there, that corner booth?
That one there, huh?
Yeah, tall fella sitting alone.
Okay, thanks.
You want me to come in with you?
No, sir. We'll take care of it. We might need you later on, though.
Whatever you say. You know how to get in touch with me.
Yes, sir. Good night.
Night.
Good night, sir.
Well? I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
Okay, sit down. Well?
We're police officers.
Okay.
What's your name?
Trendle? Dick Trendle.
You got a job?
Sure.
Doing what?
CPA.
Public accountant?
That's right.
Must make pretty good money, huh?
What makes you think so?
The way you're dressed.
I'm single. I don't have a lot of expenses.
It's a nice suit.
Thanks.
Remember where you bought it?
Sure, San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Went up there on my vacation a week ago.
Can we see the label?
Okay. Okay?
Yeah.
One drink?
No, thanks.
My pleasure.
Nope.
You ever been arrested, Trendle?
Sure.
Tell us about it, will you?
Speeding?
Nothing else.
No.
You get that tie up north, too?
No.
Where'd you get it?
Fellow I met a couple of nights ago. Got to talking to him in a bar.
What bar?
One Olympic down toward town. Don't remember the name of it.
What about this fella?
We were talking. Said he was in the clothing business. Happened to mention my hobby was stamp collecting.
Yeah.
Said sure was a coincidence.
What do you mean by that?
One of his customers was a stamp collector, too. Had the factory make up a special tie for him. Designed it like rare postage stamps.
Oh.
This one right here, the one I'm wearing.
Uh-huh.
Offered to sell it to me.
Yeah.
Because the customer it was made for had left L.A.
You have the tie with him?
In his hotel. Took me over there to show me.
What hotel was it?
I don't know, a little place a couple of blocks away from the bar.
You think you could find it again?
I guess so.
Did you go up to his room?
Yeah, he showed me the tie. Showed me a lot of other clothes, too.
Did you buy anything else?
Nothing else I needed. I stocked up when I was in San Francisco. Didn't need the tie either, but it was a real bargain.
Yeah.
$350, it's all he asked for it. Felt like this is worth at least $7 or $8.
Mm-hmm.
Sure couldn't see how he was making any profit selling it at a price like that.
He made a profit.
Well, it doesn't seem possible. It must have cost him more than $350.
No, it didn't.
Huh?
But it will. Dick Trendle gave us a description of the man who had sold him the tie. He agreed to accompany us to the bar where they'd met. 10:17 p.m. Frank and I interviewed the bartender at the BTJ Cafe on Olympic Boulevard. He remembered the suspect and said he had been in several times during the past week. He couldn't tell us his name or address. We left the bar and canvassed the vicinity for the hotel where the suspect had taken Trendle. 10:58 p.m. Trendle identified the Mortensen Hotel as the suspect's residence. Frank and I went inside and talked to the clerk on duty.
To the best of my knowledge, there's only one person staying here who fits that description. That's Mr. Lafferty.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the nicest gentlemen you ever meet. He's in the clothing business.
Is he around now?
Let me check his box. Yes, he must be in his room. The key's not here.
What room is that?
It's 212. He's very careful, Mr. Lafferty. Always leaves his key at the desk whenever he goes out.
All right, thanks.
He's generous, too. Generous to a fault.
You don't say.
Sure. See this tie? He gave it to me.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
That's too bad.
Hmm?
You may have to give it back. Frank and I walked up to the second floor. Room 212 was at the end of the hall near the fire escape. The transom was open, and we could see a light inside the room.
Who is it?
Come on, open up.
Yes, sir. Just a minute. What can I do for you, gentlemen?
Police officer, stand still.
Oh, police. You're wasting your time. I don't believe in firearms.
Use light, Joe.
What did I tell you?
All right, where's the stuff?
I suppose you mean the items I stole?
That's what we mean.
I've already managed to dispose of a good deal of it. What's left is in the closet, in the bureau. By the way, the burglar kit's under the bed.
Thanks.
Always believe in cooperating with the police. Things seem to work out better that way.
Yeah.
Although, frankly, I'm surprised you weren't here sooner.
Is that so?
Last week. That's when I was expecting you.
Oh, I'm sorry we were late.
Well, looks like we got everything we need, Joe.
All right, let's go.
You didn't overlook the tools.
Don't worry.
Last week, I was certain you'd be here then.
Mm-hmm.
Right after my second job. I've never been able to pull more than 2 before, without being arrested, I mean.
You don't say.
It was 4 this time, you know.
Yeah, we know.
4 jobs. Well, that's a new record for me.
Well, let's don't let it go to your head, huh?
Oh, I don't take all the credit. If I'd ever worked Los Angeles before, you probably would have found me sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Have to go somewhere else when I get out.
Yeah.
Maybe up north to Seattle. I never worked there.
Mm-hmm.
Might be able to pull 5 jobs before they catch me. Set myself a new record.
Yeah, well, that's not likely.
You'll see. Just wait till I get out.
We won't be around that long.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 7th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Russell Herbert Lafferty was tried and convicted of burglary in the first degree, 4 counts. Because of his previous record, he was adjudged to be an habitual criminal and was sentenced to life imprisonment in the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
Dragnet, the story of your police force in action, is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces.